Mr. McMullin, first of all, your thoughts about the debate last night.
Well, I thought it left a lot to be desired. I think you have two candidates who are deeply flawed. They're both corrupt and lack the kind of character required, I think, for the presidency. And so the debate ends up being about Donald Trump's sexual harassment and abuse and Hillary Clinton's lack of accountability and self-serving as a part of her tenure as Secretary of State. These are important issues, I guess, because we have two candidates who are so flawed from the major parties. But really, that's not what we should be talking about. That's not what we should be debating in this country. We've got national security problems. We've got a stagnant economy. And other issues. And we need to reform the government. These are the kinds of things we should be debating, actual issues. It's just so critical. But right now we've got these two candidates that are just so flawed. That's all we hear about is their flaws.
There's a lot of people here in Idaho that know who you are, they know your platform, and you seem to have quite a bit of support. But for those who aren't familiar with your story, tell us how and why you decided to run for president.
Just a little bit about me. I was born in Utah, raised in Washington State. I served in the CIA for 11 years. Most of that came after 9/11. I ran counterterrorism operations against Al-Qaeda and other more traditional intelligence operations overseas, working with our military and FBI back here at home and whatnot. And then after I completed my service with the CIA, I went to business school at the Wharton School in Philadelphia, earned an MBA there, and then went into the private sector for a couple of years until I was asked to return to government service as a senior advisor on national security issues to Congress. I did that for a couple of years, and then I was asked to be the chief policy director for the House Republican Conference. So while I was doing that, I became troubled by Donald Trump's advancement through the primaries. I hoped that at least at the convention, somehow he would be removed as the nominee or the likely nominee. Hopefully, I hoped that it wouldn't happen. Or if it did, that somebody else would step forward and run as an independent. But then after the convention, when I reached out to some people who I knew were looking for someone, and I had helped a little bit with that here and there, they told me that they did not have somebody and they didn't think anyone was going to do it. And so at that point, they asked me if I would consider it. And I said that I would. And so I spent the next 10 days with what felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders. Didn't sleep a lot, but spent a lot of time pondering and consulting friends and family and other sources of wisdom for me. And ultimately, I decided that if no one else would do this, that I would do it. And the reason for that was because I felt so strongly that it needed to happen. Someone needed to stand on principle and try to offer the American people a better choice between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
So I would imagine as the months have progressed and the weeks since you made that announcement with the Trump tape on Friday and the WikiLeaks with Hillary Clinton, are you more comfortable with your decision to run?
Well, it's a good question. I've been comfortable the whole time. I strongly believe that it's the right thing. But certainly as this plays out, it becomes more clear to me and I think to a lot of Americans that we cannot elect either of these two major party candidates. And we're told that we have to choose between one of them, but that's not true. And we have a real leadership crisis here in this country. And part of it is that we're told always that we need to choose the lesser of two evils with our vote. But I heard one pastor say the other day, if you choose the lesser of two evils, you're still choosing evil. And I thought that was so appropriate for this election cycle. We're never going to get good leaders in this country if we don't use our votes to support them and to promote them into office. It can't happen if we don't use our votes to promote them. So that's what I'm calling on Americans to do. I'm calling on Americans to vote their conscience, stand for what is right and against what is not. We have a lot of leaders out there who are now criticizing Trump for his comments in those tapes and otherwise, but they're just saying what they oppose. They're not saying what they're for, and that's not real leadership. We need them to step up and say not only what they're against, but what they support, and then we need them to fight for what they believe, and that's what real leadership is.
I'm sure you're told every day, maybe every couple days, do you stand a chance? I mean, is there any way that you could be elected? What's your response to that?
Well, we have a lot of goals. There is a way that we can be elected. If the race is close and we win a couple of states, we could send the race into the House of Representatives, where the top three finishers go and the House votes. Each state gets one vote. So that's happened before. Excuse me, not in a long time, but it could happen again. But that's not our only mission here. Our mission, first and foremost, I would say, is to stand up for what's right. That's really important. I feel like I say that, but a lot of people don't listen to it or sort of dismiss it. It is super critical, and it's so critical in this election that someone stand up for what is right. And you don't see that from either two of the main party candidates. But I'm talking about the basic principles on which our country was founded. The idea that we were all created equal, regardless of the color of our skin or religion or gender, we were all created equal. The idea that we all have inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have right now a presidential candidate from the Republican side who doesn't support the idea that we were all created equal. He also doesn't support the idea of liberty. You can tell by his policies. So this is something that we must reject. And that, when I say that Mindy Finn, my running mate, and I are standing up for what's right, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, we can still win. Yes, it's hard, but we are standing on principle. And also, thirdly, I would say that we are building a new conservative movement in this country. Even the Republicans have drifted too far away from the cause of liberty, growing the size of government, taxing us, and disrespecting the Constitution's separation of powers. We need a new conservative movement and potentially a new conservative party in this country.
All right. Well, I know on your website you kind of go through the issues and where you stand on certain things. Is there a message you would have for the people here in Idaho?
I would just say that Donald Trump is a big government liberal, just like Hillary Clinton. This is a man who has spent his entire life being a liberal. It was only when he decided to run for president as a Republican that he changed his positions. We need to call a spade and be honest with ourselves. Most people really dislike, on the Republican conservative side, Hillary Clinton, and they don't want to see her in office. And because of that strong desire, many have hoped that Trump would be better. But let's be honest with ourselves. Trump is a big government liberal. He always has been. And at this stage in his life, I really don't believe that's changed. So if you want to vote for somebody who truly believes in limited government, the cause of liberty, then I am that person. And I am the only candidate, sadly, in this race who stands for the foundational principles of our nation and true conservatism. I am on the ballot in Idaho, and I'm on in a number of other states, and we're registered as a write-in in others. People can vote for us now in 34 states. By the time we get to November 8th, it'll be more like 43 or 45. So the vast majority of Americans will be able to vote for me. They can either check the box if they see my name on the ballot or write me in. But to learn more information about all of that, they can go to evanmcmullin.com and see that. They can volunteer. They can donate there. We're supported by good, salt-of-the-earth American people across the country, not by a party, obviously, because I'm an independent. So all the help we get from the people helps.
Hey, one thing we ask everybody, because we are Idaho, how do you like your potatoes?
Any way I can get them,
Okay.
fried, mashed. I'm a big ketchup guy too.
Okay.
I was raised in Washington State, so I eat a lot of salmon.
Okay.
And my favorite thing to go with salmon is mashed potatoes.
Nice.
So
Probably from Idaho, potatoes from Idaho.
of course.
Thank you, sir. If you win, we hope you'll give us an interview.
Oh, absolutely. I'll do it. You have my word. You can remind my team that I said that.
Sounds good. Take care. Good luck to you.
All right.